Charlotte Tilbury has a brand new $36 concealer. Can this cover up the under eyes, leave them looking airbrushed, flawless, blurred out? That's what we're gonna find out today. So keep watching if you want to see how this looks right here. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe because I create content on all things beauty. But not only that, I help you figure out if things are worth purchasing or not. Because right now in this economy, we need to be smart about what we're spending and not over consuming. So this is for all my bonitas on a budget. I got you, and we're going to figure out if this is something that is worth checking out. So let's go ahead and start, okay, bonitas? So I already went ahead with foundation. For foundation, I am using my favorite high-end foundation, which is the Dior Stick Foundation. I did go out and purchase this new concealer at Sephora, but can we just talk about this packaging? Look how pretty this packaging is. I did swatch 3 shades that I felt like were closest to my match, and this one in the shade 7.5 medium felt like would work the best with my neutral complexion. For the Dior Stick Foundation, I am wearing the shade 3N. This is one of the high-end foundations that I will forever recommend. I'm almost finished with it. I will be restocking when there is a sale, but let's just see how this concealer does. So, like I said, this does retail for $36, and this is a concealer that has a powder blur technology. It has squalane, hyaluronic acid, and I don't know how to pronounce that, Phyto Youth Essence. It's a creaseless blurring matte finish for flawless looking skin. Skin looks visibly lifted, smoother and hydrated, airbrushed, supercharged pigments, erase dark circles and retouch imperfections. Elastic stretch formula, undetectable, weightless finish. So let's see. I really love this packaging. Like, I can't get over how pretty this is. And it's just like your traditional doe foot applicator, as you can see. And I'm gonna go ahead and take the product. So I'm gonna start off with this eye. It's kind of angled, so it really gets in there. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna put some on this outer edge. Okay, this doe foot applicator, I don't know if you can see that, but it comes to like a point. Can you see? It comes to a point, so it like really like defines, so just be really careful because it is kind of pointy. And I'm just applying it like so. I'm gonna let it warm up for just a second to just kind of see how it, you know, does with the makeup, with the skin. Sometimes allowing things for them to warm up just really helps kind of preamp the becoming one with what's already on the face. So for this side right here, I am going to go ahead and take my damp sponge. I'm just using my Morphe Butter Collection sponge. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to start to blend it out. To be quite honest with you, bonitas, I have not used a damp sponge for my concealer in a minute. I've been using, if you've noticed, more so of brushes. I've been really into concealing with brushes, but today I figured I could do a mixture, sponge and my brush. Okay, so it's blending very nicely. It doesn't look flat, like you know how sometimes some matte products can look flat on the skin. This doesn't give a flat finish. It's blending very seamlessly into the skin. It definitely does look very beautiful and like flawless. Look at that. You can see the difference with, without. Now this is supposed to be a creaseless concealer, but I'm gonna be very honest with you. No matter what I do, what I use, my under eyes will always crease. I just have very creasy lines right there. And also I make a lot of expressions with my face, so creasing is bound to happen. I don't really believe anything when it says like crease-proof, all that, like no. Not for me at least. But you can see the difference. It did a great job of brightening, but not over brightening where it just like looks too intense, but this looks healthy, like a healthy brightening from this to this. I am gonna go ahead and take powder because I always have to set with my loose powder. I am gonna be using my one size powder. Also, like I mentioned earlier, please let me know if you do want to see a full face of new high-end makeup. Like I said, I've been gathering some stuff, so I can definitely bring that to you guys probably in the next week or so. So let me know down below if you would want to see that. You guys have shared with me some items in community tabs of products you would want to see me try out. So I have been making a list of extra things I do need to get. I do have the Rare Beauty powders. I now have this, which I can use again in that tutorial so that I can give you more in-depth review after wearing it a little bit more. What else do I have? Oh, I also have some Huda Beauty powders that are new that I could touch on again. So that being said, let me know down below if you want to see a full face of new high-end makeup, and I can definitely do that because there are some things that are intriguing me. Okay, so we have it right here. We're going to kind of like let that do its thing before we go on to this side, because I want you to see the difference with the powder and with no powders. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the powder like so. Okay, wow, that worked really well with the powder. I feel like sometimes powder can just sit on top on certain concealers, like the e.l.f. one. No tea, no shade, e.l.f., but like no, that's not my favorite. But this one I feel like really became one with the concealer and looks really nice. Look at that. Do you see that? Like, look, with the concealer and powder with nothing. Okay, so now that we did that, we can move on to the other side. I'm gonna do the same thing, except on this side, I am going to be using a brush to blend. I also love how creamy this formula is. Very, very creamy formula. For brush, I'm gonna be using the Haus Labs brush. Okay, it blends really well with the brush too. And like I said, this is supposed to give like a soft matte finish. And even though it's giving a soft matte finish, you know, sometimes with some products you have to work fast with them, or they can kind of get stuck, or they're not easy to blend. I feel like this is very easy to blend. It's a very lightweight product. It doesn't feel heavy on the face whatsoever. This is a very beautiful concealer. First impressions, like, wow, Charlotte, wow. Yeah, I would say it's definitely more so of like a soft matte. And I'm gonna set. Another thing too, sometimes when things are too matte, it can be a little rough with the powder. And as you saw in the other eye that we went in with, like, it looks stunning. Like, it didn't look thick or heavy. It felt really nice on the under eyes. I think I went with a little too much powder over here. I'm gonna take a little bit of the concealer as well and put it right here in the midsection of the face, just to kind of conceal a little bit. I know some people also use this to spot conceal, and I think that's a great idea. Or if you just want to go in with concealer to cover certain blemishes but don't want to go in like all over the face, I think this is a great way to kind of do that as well. And to be honest, I think either with a brush or a sponge, this will perform really beautifully. I don't think either or is going to be better or worse. I would say though, if you do want to apply more concealer like on the rest of your face, I would probably recommend going in with a sponge, like a damp sponge, to blend it really quickly. If there's areas where you want to apply more precisely, I would blend out with a brush, just because I feel like it'll give it like that maximum pigmentation. But if you're just trying to like add a little bit more concealer in other areas on top of your foundation, I think going with a sponge will give you like a pretty, just more like natural like type of finish. That would just be my personal recommendation, but I really like how this concealer looks. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm just using the One Size Ultra Peach powder. This lasted me a long time. These are very long lasting. Okay, I like how this Charlotte Tilbury concealer looks. Charlotte, this is nice. And I really like this color too. Again, it's 7.5 medium. It's not too light, but it's not too close to my complexion where I'm like, it'd be better off for spot concealing. Like, no, this is a truly gorgeous, just the right amount of brightness without it being too brightened. This is good. Let me swatch it so you can see. That's what it looks like. And again, it's a very lightweight product, but it has enough creaminess where it will deliver. It will really deliver that really good consistency and coverage that you want out of a product. This is a good shade. If you don't want it to be too bright, you want it to be closer to the match that you have already in your complexion, I think this will be great if you're around my complexion. Like I said, for the Dior Stick Foundation, I am in the shade 3N. So yeah, that's something to look at. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do really quickly is I'm gonna finish up the rest of my makeup. I do wanna include a wear test. Now, I started the day a little later today, but we're gonna wear this for as long as possible, and I'll see you bonitas at the end of the day for the final thoughts. But before we get anywhere near that, I'm going to go ahead, finish up the rest of the face, and then I'm gonna come back and give you guys the tea on how it's set and looks with everything else, and then we can start the wear test. So I will be right back, bonitas. Makeup is complete, and let's get into the new Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Concealer. And by the way, I will have all the products I used on my face linked down below in my description box. You can check it out. The products will also pop up on this screen, and you can click on it and you'll be able to be redirected to each of the products that I am using on camera, or whether it's products that I've mentioned or have on my face, so you can check it out through there. Now, I do make a commission if you do shop those links, so that really helps the channel continue to grow and helps us to keep this channel moving. So muchas gracias. But if you do not buy anything, no worries. I still appreciate your support of watching this video. So just want to point that out there in case you want direction to where to find the products or the things that I'm wearing on my face. So let's talk about the concealer, bonitas, okay? Because I am really enjoying this concealer. It honestly ended up working really well with everything. It's set really nicely. It looks beautiful. It doesn't feel heavy whatsoever. Sometimes the under eyes can get a little heavier right here, and you can't even tell I have product on. Like, it truly feels so lightweight. So right now it is 1:38 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna get a later start, but I'm gonna be wearing this for the entire day. So you wanna keep watching, okay, bonitas? But this is what it's looking like. I'll also show you how this looks with natural light. But right here, right now, it's looking nice. It's looking very, very nice. And I just really love how easily that product glided onto the skin, and also how easily it blended onto the skin. I definitely do feel like this gives like a soft matte finish. It's not matte and flat. It's not thick or heavy. No, 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 no. It's very lightweight, but it does give more of that like matte effect, which I personally like as somebody with oily skin. So if you have oily skin, you'll probably really enjoy that. I would say with dry skin, I would be careful of that, just because I know that especially in the under eye area, if it's too dry, it can start to separate, and that's the last thing you want. But if you do have more of like that oily skin, that dewy type of complexion, combination skin even, this will be really nice on top of that and will blend very seamlessly. So I'm gonna go ahead, carry on with the rest of my day, bonitas, and I will be back later for check-in and also my final thoughts, so you can see if this is worth your $36 or not. But so far, really nice stuff. Bonitas, here is the concealer in natural light. This is what it's looking like. I think it looks nice. Like, look how nice and smooth that looks on the under eye. It looks really nice and smooth and like matte. But not like too matte, but just like a healthy matte where I feel like it's really going to last and stay nice and in place. So far, so good. Right now it is 3 p.m. So I'll be back at the end of the day for the final thoughts, but I'm really enjoying it. And it doesn't feel like I have anything on the under eyes. Okay, bonitas, I am back. It is 7:16 p.m. So we've worn this concealer for some time, and this is what it looks like at the end of the night. Before I remove my makeup off, you can see there is a little bit of creasing on the right eye right here. My right, I'm not sure if it's your right, but my right, there is a little bit of creasing. Now, this is my more creasy under eye. This eye looks great. It looks intact. It's not creasing whatsoever. But this other eye right here definitely does have some creasing, but not as bad as it can get with other ones. I feel like with other concealers, I can get super, super creasy, and this actually held up way better than some other ones that I have. So I'm impressed with that. I'm happy about that, because that can sometimes be an issue, but here it's doing pretty well. So I have to say, Charlotte Tilbury, I'm very impressed with this new concealer. I feel like it gives a very beautiful finish, very beautiful results, and it feels so lightweight. Like, very, very lightweight on the undries. I did mention this does retail for $36. I do believe that if you are on the hunt for a new high-end concealer, or a concealer that's gonna just be really nice and flawless and easy to work with the rest of your products, I think this is something to definitely look into. Now, I don't think you need to go out and run and get this if you already have something that you love at home. But if you are somebody that's looking for a new concealer, you run out of your concealer, I think this is one to check out, especially if you love a soft matte finish and you love a concealer that's going to deliver really good coverage but feel lightweight, and also not have too intense of a creasing. Would say for that, I would absolutely recommend. Now, I will say this wand is very, very pointy, so just keep that in mind. Like it has a very precise point at the top, so just keep that in mind, which I feel like is really nice to like get it in there, but you just want to make sure you don't poke yourself. So that's the only thing I would say. But overall, the product is really good. It's a really great product that truly delivers really beautiful results, and looks nice for a good amount of the time that I wore it, which I'm definitely very appreciative, happy about. I do think that this is worth the money if you are on the hunt for a new concealer, especially if you love Charlotte Tilbury. Now, I do want to point out, I will include this in a future video where I do test out new high-end makeup, so I'll give like a second review of it, but I'm going to be using this after this first initial review. I'm going to continue using it and I'll keep you bonitas posted. But as of right now, first impressions and how it wore through this wear test, I am really liking how this is looking. So let me know your thoughts. Have you tried this new Charlotte Tilbury concealer? Yes or no? What are you thinking? If you have tried it out, let's go ahead and chat down below. I love interacting con mis bonitas, and I'll be seeing you bonitas very, very soon. So don't forget to stay safe, stay blessed, and stay beautiful, and make sure to subscribe so that our bonita familia can continue to grow. So adios, bonitas.